Okay, doing the last 5 questions in the Castle Learning Unit 11 Part DEF. Here it goes. So this question is about 12 years old, so I don't know if they'd still ask this, but they say, what's the activation energy? So that's normally, if you start here, you have to get up to here to get activated, to get going. So this is normally your answer for activation energy. That's a great answer. But this says, what's the activation for the reverse reaction? So that's like, say you ran this reaction in reverse, starting here and going this way. Technically, you'd have to start here and get up to here to get activated. So that is your activation energy of your reverse reaction. So the only letters that match up with that are if you added C and B to make this activation energy of the reverse reaction. So C and B are our answers right there. So again, not sure. That question is 12 years old. It's not that old, so I'm not sure if they would ask that. So we'll see. Never know what they put on there. This one says, let me move myself out of the way. What is the heat of the reaction? So remember, heat of reaction is their favorite thing to ask on here. It's the difference between where you started and where you ended up. So they said, oh, each interval represents 10 kilojoules. I was like, where are the numbers? So I went up 1, 2, 3 units from where I started. Each one was worth 10. So it looks like I went up by, it was a 30 kilojoule difference, and I went up by 30 kilojoules. So my answer is plus 30 kilojoules. All right, on to the next. According to table I, substance G could be what? Okay, so I take one look at this and I'm like, they're asking me for endo or exo. So the graph ends up higher than it started. So you gained money on this. You gained energy on this. So energy went in, energy was absorbed. So I am looking for a positive delta H. So I'm like, that's what a table I substance G could be. So it must be like I'm just looking for something with a positive delta H. So a tricky way of asking it instead of just being a little bit more straightforward. So I guess out of these choices, which one has a positive delta H? So I just have to go check all these stupid choices. So HI, do you have a positive delta H? What was this supposed to be? The making of it? Given the potential energy diagram representing the reaction between A and D, substance G could be. Okay, so the making, we're making this. So we're making HI. Is that a positive delta H when you make HI? There's making HI. Oop, it's a positive delta H. Good, I found the answer on the first try. All right, so the making of G, making of HI has a positive delta H. So this could be the graph for that because it goes up, so it's endothermic. All right. Okay. If each of these units is 40 kilojoules, what is the heat of the reaction? Again, I told you this is their favorite question to ask about these diagrams. Heat of reaction, like the total energy of the reaction, is where you ended up minus where you started. It looks like it's only 1 unit down. If you were to like extend this line out, which sometimes they do, it's only 1 line down, and each line is worth 40. So it must be 40. And did it go up by 40 or down by 40? Looks like it went up by 40, so it must be a positive 40 kilojoules. All right, and our last question. Which statement correctly describes the energy changes in the forward reaction? So just meaning like we're reading this normally, going left to right when they say forward. So the activation energy is 10 or the activation energy is 50. So it looks like I went from 40 and I had to go up to 50 to get activated. So I had to go up by 10 to get activated. I didn't have to go up by 50 because I was already at 40. So the activation energy is 10. So that's going to get rid of these two choices. And then the reaction is endo or exo. So let's see. I ended up lower than I started. Looks like I'm operating at a loss. I had less money than I started with. So energy must have left. It must have been released. Energy must have exited. This is exothermic. So I'm going with this choice right here, 2. The answer is 2. All right. And I will give you in the next unit, next video, just like a summary of what you need to know about this stuff.